2 o'clock, August the 13th. The 13th of August. The Royal Air Force shoots down 40 German planes. It is their first big victory. Goering's Eagle Day is not taken seriously by the young English pilots.
I don't believe that it meant any more to them and to myself than an enormous game, kind of sport, in which the enemy was the game, and they were invading our territory. You can put an Englishman to a great deal of inconvenience. You can twist the lion's tail. But there comes a moment when he decided he'd had enough.
The battles in the air seem to be wild and undisciplined, but the tactics are simple and precise. The head-on attack is the most dangerous. There is a real risk of collision. It is safer to approach and attack the enemy from behind. There is the attack from below and from above. But despite the danger and risk of collision, it is the head-on attack which is eventually found to be the most effective. The English casually watch the battles which the Germans intend to be the prelude to Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of England. Between combats, there is the waiting, the cup of tea, and the sentimental songs of Vera Lynn.
The white cliffs of Dover, tomorrow, just you wait and see. There'll be love and laughter and peace ever.
In the German camp, it's the same story. One camp could be mistaken for the other if it weren't for the fact that the songs of Zererlander are even more romantic. In Germany, fighter pilots have become national heroes. One of them, Mulders is romantic and reserved. He treats the war as a sport. Already he has shot down 54 planes. By a strange twist of fate, he dies pointlessly, killed in a plane accident with another pilot at the controls. Adolf Galland, a general at 30, finishes the war with 104 planes to his credit. Today he is a successful businessman. We asked him to return to his old base at Calais, and he came in his private plane.
I lived on the Channel coast for a year and a half. I arrived as a captain, I left as a colonel. I'll show you where my squadron was based. There were at least 30 airfields around Calais. The beaches down there were covered with the debris of planes which had come down in distress. That's my base. There it is. You can see the hangars. We used to take off from there during the Battle of Britain. You see that large white house down there? That's where Goering decorated me with the Iron Cross. I remember when Goering accused the German fighter pilots of cowardice. I tore off the Iron Cross and hurled it at his feet. Goering accused us of abandoning the bombers. By this time, they were being massacred by the English fighters. In fact, our Messerschmitts only had fuel for an hour and a half's flying, just enough to get to London and back. If we were engaged in combat with a Spitfire on our way back to base, a red warning would light up on our instrument panel. It meant that we were running out of fuel, and at best it would mean an enforced swim in the channel. We felt like hounds on a leash, and before long we stopped believing in a German victory and became very bitter.
Galland, an outspoken man, didn't hide his bitterness. One day when Goering asked him in an indulgent way, "What can I do for you, Galland?" he answered shortly, "Give us Spitfires, sir." The English have their own heroes, and everyone knows their names. Johnson, Deere, Malan, Bader. One of the few who will never be forgotten is Stanford Tuck.
My name's Robert Stanford Tuck. They used to call me Lucky Tuck. The weather was very similar to what it is today. It was beautiful, cloudless weather the whole time in 1940, and very hot.
What are your feelings towards the German pilots of 1940?
Oh, I think they were just doing the job they had to do at the time. I have many friends amongst them now in Germany that I see very frequently.
Such as?
General Galland, Adolf Galland, he's a great friend of mine. He comes over and spends weekends with me, and I always drop in and see him when I'm over there. We have a lot of fun together.
Those are your feelings towards the fighter pilots. What about the bomber pilots?
Well, I don't think, you know, aerial warfare is a very impersonal affair, and all you're trying to do the whole time is outwit the other fellow, and when you outwit him, plunk, you shoot him down.
Douglas Bader, with 22 planes to his credit, is nicknamed Indestructible. Following an accident in 1938, both his legs are amputated, but he still wants to carry on flying. He soon becomes one of the aces of fighter command. In 1942, he is shot down over France. General Galland invites him to drink champagne in the German pilot's mess. Although German and English pilots can have respect for one another, in August 1940, the Battle of Britain is reaching a bitter climax. Morale is still very high among the German squadrons. At this moment, the Luftwaffe is very near to winning the Battle of Britain. Despite its bravery, the English fighter force has suffered cruel losses. The German pilots still believe that they are masters of the sky. August the 24th. A totally unexpected event takes place. London is bombed. Even Hitler is surprised. 10 of his aircraft have strayed accidentally over central London and released their bombs. Only a few days earlier, Hitler had ordered the reprimand of a general because some of his planes had dropped bombs as close to central London as Croydon. These errors will change the whole course of the war. Churchill, desperately anxious about the crisis of fighter command, seizes the opportunity. The following day, he orders the RAF to bomb Berlin. 81 aircraft take part in the largest raid ever mounted by Bomber Command. It is announced as a great victory.
We take terrific pleasure in presenting these first intimate and unrehearsed pictures of real history in the making. How I've been longing to say this. The RAF are back from bombing Berlin, and now the men who bombed Berlin reporting to intelligence.
Well, how'd you get on? Pretty well, so we got the target all right.
Good. Let's have a rough idea of the immediate rate report. First